Welcome to At the Table with Baz, the show where local stories are served. I'm Baz Hunter, and each episode I sit down with the characters, the grafters, and the hidden gems behind the places we all know and love. So pull up a chair, relax, and join me as we dive into real conversations and the stories that shape our communities. This is At the Table. Hello and welcome to episode number 4. Today's show is totally different because I am joined by a medium. She is the person behind the Gainsborough Spiritual Centre and all the weird and wonderful things that goes on there. Maddison Leigh, it's great to have you in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm all right. Busy, but I'm all right.
Good. Lots going on, as always.
Always, every day.
So I know that it's around a special sort of anniversary for you at the Gainsborough Spiritual Centre because it's a year.
A whole year.
Time does fly, doesn't it, when you're having fun? So this is totally new to me as well, because obviously, being sat opposite a medium, and I always wanted to be a medium, but I'm like a 2XL. I've never managed it to this day anyway. But yeah, it's great to have you here, and it's great to talk to somebody about the world of spirituality and everything that goes on with it, because I know it's not for everybody, and there's the skeptics out there, and I'm sure you've more on that sort of as the story goes on. But where did it all begin for you then?
Well, I've not always done this full time. I started off as a doorman. A bouncer.
Right, okay.
I was actually still a bouncer alongside running this, because I didn't expect it to take off like it did. So I kept my doorman job.
Yeah, sensible.
And did it, either side. So I started off as a doorman, but I've always, whether it been through my own mental health struggles or through helping other people with theirs, I've always done spirituality, and I've always been a medium. It was just always second priority.
Something that's always, I suppose it's something that's always been there.
Yeah, it's always been there. I've always been able to kind of do it, and I've done a lot of training in it and that kind of thing. But it wasn't until I was probably about 18 that I really started getting into it, and I really started looking into that side of myself. Until then, I was just like a everyday kid, and then I went on the doors and I did that, and then
were you on the doors, like, say, you Hull accent, is it?
Yeah, from Hull originally.
On the doors in Hull?
No, I've never actually done the doors in Hull. I moved out of Hull when I was like 18. I've lived all over, and I've done the doors all over.
You've kept your accent anyway, haven't you?
Only just. My granddad does take the mickey out of me and say I sound like I'm from Lincolnshire now. But
right, okay.
He's a proud Yorkshireman, so he's going to say that.
Good stuff. So, and so it all began with, obviously your life has taken you the journey through I suppose at least if ever it kicks off there, you're ready to go, aren't you?
I've still got my badge. I kept my badge.
Ready for action,
but no, I think it started through a different sort of period, because every time something happened in my life, it was always spirituality that I turned to. And then I've been married, and I went through a divorce, and that's when I really, really turned to it. And in a way, I suppose I've dedicated every day of my life to it now, because I suppose I owe it my life, because it saved me at one point. So
wow, what a way to look at it then.
Yeah.
So you're sort of you've given up everything to put everything into this because it saved you.
We've moved to Gainsborough. I didn't live in Gainsborough when I set up Gainsborough Spiritual Centre. I lived in Scunthorpe, and I got fed up of travelling backwards and forwards, so I quit my job in Cleethorpes and then moved here. So now we live in Gainsborough, and my partner is very supportive, and she supported me with the move and agreed to move for me, because it was easier for me to get to and from work and that kind of thing. And I wouldn't, even though I did it all on a whim, I suppose, and I pretty much winged it, I wouldn't go back and change it now. I'm glad I did it.
I think a lot of these sort of business decisions and a lot of these things that really work, it starts off by taking a chance. And, we've spoke about that on a couple of the previous episodes when I've been speaking to various different people in business, and it all starts from taking that chance. And you obviously you've given up your job, you've moved here, and you've just wanted to go into it full time, which is great.
Absolutely,
really, I'm really lucky enough to have had a little tour of the Spiritual Centre. Obviously, in preparation for our podcast episode, I really wanted to see what goes on, because I'm one of them. I take I have a real interest in this. But of course, I'm one of them that's like, seeing is believing and stuff like that. So, but the fact that the centre's there, and what opened my eyes about it is I walk past it really regularly.
Yeah.
I never think about bobbing in.
Yeah.
Just because I'm one of them that, I'm not quite sure. But what really opened my eyes when I came on the tour is that on the mini tour that you get, more on that soon, the basement, downstairs and everything else. But what really opened my eyes to it was you're not just a medium and you're not just a centre that sort of offers these crystals that help with certain things, but also you're a safe space and you're somewhere that people
100%.
Go in for a cup of tea when they're feeling a little bit down.
100%. I find that a lot of people, there's a big stigma around spirituality, and I think a lot of people think that we're usually dancing around in circles around fires and stuff like that, and it's actually far from that, even though we do that, but it's far from that. Like, it's all about community and looking after each other and helping each other, whether that is through crystals or whether it's through just talking to people and having a cup of tea. Like, the centre literally survives on cups of tea. If tea went extinct, our centre would close down. It's as simple as that, because we literally survive on bringing people together. And I think the nicest part of the centre is the fact that you can have two people in a room talking to each other and learning from each other, and it's probably two people that wouldn't even look at each other when they walk past in the street, like rich and poor, working class, non-working class, and yet here they are in a room.
It's one of them that everything's left at the door.
Everything's left at the door. It doesn't matter kind of where your background is, as long as you can be respectful and listen to people. That's what we thrive on. So it's not just, we do the mediumship side of things. We do like the crystal. The crystals are actually a decoy, so we have a shop front. We love our crystals and we're so passionate about it. But before, up until July, we was only underground. And
so you grew, didn't you? You grew into the shop. So like when I came in, so the first thing that I saw when I walked through the door was this crystal room.
Yeah.
And then obviously when I started speaking to a bit more about what it all meant and everything, it's not just like it's crystals. I mean, you actually make bracelets, don't you, from these crystals?
Yeah.
You make earrings from, you sort of, you're hard at work behind the sscenes from that stuff. I know you sort of do the mediumship sort of live, and you also do it, over FaceTime or whatever it is, Zoom and stuff like that. But you you're sort of hard at work, and you're making these bracelets, and these crystals all represent different things. You were telling me, yeah.
Yeah. So each crystal has a different property. They're all from we're very particular about where we get ours from, so we know where which country it's from and that kind of thing. We don't just buy them sort of willy nilly off anywhere. We've got a carvings man in Indonesia who makes all our carvings. And he does them all by hand as well. So it's really cool because, for example, we've just had two Indians, and even though we did them on the same day, you can see the slight differences in them because he's done them by hand.
Yeah.
And he's unbelievable. But yeah, so we love our crystals. Our crystals is just like maybe 10% of us, the medium's 10% of us, because there's so much to us and to all of us and everyone that walks in that door. There's usually something for them, even if they're not interested in the mediumship side of things or the crystals. They might be wanting to find out about their soul or about shadow work and improving that side of them, some healing, whatever it is that they want to do. we usually either know someone or we can do it. So
yeah, no, that's great. It's great that there's like a little backstory behind, you know, like you say, the people that you source these crystals from. My first thing when I came in, I was like, right, what's the best for stress? And you know, and you said, oh, it's these, you know, and you took me over and you went, there actually is things, and then there's candles to help, and there's all these different things.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and it was really nice to see. And then obviously, through the crystal room, we went through the next door, and it was like all set up with like, you know, rows of chairs, you know, and it was ready for talks and things.
Yeah, so we had that Saturday you come in, we had a crystal course on, but usually they're in tables, and it doubles up as a social room for Social Saturday, where our students come and do free readings for them to practice, or you can just have a chat with people. It also doubles up as a classroom, so we do a lot of our workshops in there and a lot of our training in there. Doubles up as a bingo room. We've all played bingo in there before. It depends on what we're doing at the time, really. It's our bit of an everything room.
Yeah, it was nice though, the way it was set up, and then there was sort of, I expect that we're ready for somebody at the front and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sort of, when I'm at this point, I'm thinking, right, so they've got the shop at the front, and then they've got this bit at the back where they do, you know, readings and stuff like that. But the tour didn't end there, did it? Because we ended up out the back door.
Out the back door. So in that middle room, we've got our mascots. We've got Pinky and Pokey, which are our two budgies. The centre, people love them at the centre. You know, the green budgie loves a workshop. He'll sit on your head and everything. And then you go out, and we've got like a kitchen where people can help themselves. And then when you go out and round, you go underground to our cellar, our basement cellar, which is like a really long type tunnel thing. And in there we do evenings of mediumship. We do open circle every Monday. We do all sorts down there. We've
seances and all
we've
kinds.
done sound baths down there. They're good down there because the acoustics are fantastic. This is no windows. So the sound baths are good. We've all slept down there on Halloween night. We've had all sorts go on down there.
So for those that don't know, so we're talking about the cellar of the old Black Bull pub out in Gainsborough, right on the corner there.
Kind of. So it was actually, for a short period of its life, it was, there's so much history. I've had an archaeologist in and stuff like that. But for a part of its life, it was a Black Bull cellar. However, for whatever reason, it got boarded up quite a few years ago, before even extras was a thing. And then my landlord, who was amazing, Andy, he found it by accident.
Unveiled it, didn't he? Because I follow obviously Andy's story of all the improvement.
He found it by accident and kind of chucked his son down there and was like, what is it? And he was like, it's a whole room, Dad. And then he's put the stairs in for me, because the stairs were the 2 beer ramps.
Yeah, and there's still sort of part of one there that's still got its character.
I asked him to keep it as original as he could. And he has done that for me, and we absolutely love it in there. We love it. It's our little sanctuary.
It really sets the scene. I mean, so obviously I went down there, and you sort of open these wooden doors, and they've still got like the ramp for where the barrels obviously used to go down all those years ago, and you head down these steps. It's all brick, and it's like an arch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a proper old school cellar that's been converted into something. And I know that you do a lot down there, obviously, you know, like you were saying about certain readings. You do group activities down there, group readings. And loads more. But what a place and what an atmosphere to have such a thing. And I know that that's where you started off, and you did everything down there, didn't you? It's hard to believe now, looking at the shop, what you do, how you fit everything down there.
I can't believe we were down there at any point, but we had no storage or anything, so we took the shop on, and it's the best decision we've ever made.
Yeah, it's an amazing atmosphere, and excuse the pun, but I know it's an old beer cellar and stuff like that, but is there any spirits down? I mean, you know, I've got to ask because, you know, you've got to, but I mean, when I was I were down there and I'm looking over my shoulder and I'm thinking, oh, this, you know, there's got to be something in here.
There's definitely, we have 3 resident spirits that live down there. We've got Edward, Ruby and Emily. We say morning to them every morning. And then obviously when we've got open circle and stuff on down there, that's when people's loved ones come, and then we have them in there. And
so this is like a reading, but as a group type thing when you say open circle. Is
open circle is, it depends on what you get out of it, depends on kind of the reason why you go in. So it's basically a mixture of abilities from people that have never done it, which we call sitters, developing mediums and working mediums, and we all sit in a circle of upliftment, and we deliver messages from spirit. And it's a really good way to either sit in the healing energies for an hour just away from the world, because there's no signal down there on your phone, receive the message, practice giving messages. It's just a circle of upliftment and positivity and that kind of thing. We open and close it appropriately, and it's really popular. We actually in summer do them on a Monday and a Tuesday night because it gets that busy. But while it's been cold and miserable, I've dropped it down to just a Monday night. But even then, our Monday nights are so busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen, and obviously a lot of the comments and a lot of the people that go and stuff like that, and it's such an amazing. I mean, when I went in, there was nobody there other than me and you, and maybe a few others that I didn't see.
The volunteers.
But no, there was it was such an amazing sort of ambience about it, and it really does lend itself into what you're doing, which is brilliant.
I like seeing the different atmospheres that the centre goes through on a weekly basis, because we have like the days where it is just me in there pottering about, and then like on a Saturday it's full of life and full of people because we have social Saturday, and it goes through so much in a week, like from nobody to quiet to loud to quiet, and it's nice to see it go through changes and things like that.
When I was speaking to you the other day during my tour, I was obviously asking a little bit about. I realised your field will sort of bring skeptics and things like that.
Absolutely.
But you sort of said to me that spirituality is much more than just getting your palm read or your tarot and all that goes
so
with it. It's sort of in everyday life, really.
Yeah, I mean, I've met people that have said to me, "Oh, I'm not spiritual at all," and then when I've got talking to them, like they'll go and get Reiki done, or they focus on the chakras, or they do yoga, and I'm like, but that's spirituality. Chakras come from spirituality, so I'm a massive believer of the chakras, and spirituality is all over us. Like everybody has a soul, and whether people believe or not, it's entirely up to them. But we're only here to say, there is a place where you can come and ask about it if you wish, but you're not forced to. Like, we have our regulars, we have people that have never been before, we have people that turn up at the door and don't quite know why they're there. We have all sorts come from everywhere, and they're always welcome, whether they believe or not. We're not there to persuade anybody. We're just there to do what we're passionate about, which is not necessarily mediumship and things like that. However, that is a part of it. We're passionate about, people and where they how they sit with themselves and giving them confidence and things like that.
Yeah. That's a really nice way of putting it, because like you just said, you had something stuck there when you said people have walked in before and they don't know why they're there, but they've just turned up. Yeah. And I suppose, there's so much that can go with it. I suppose you'll be speaking to people that have dealt with a recent loss, that are sort of maybe looking for closure or looking for answers. And I suppose there's so much more around it than that, but there's grief, there's happiness, there's loads of different emotions that come through your door.
Yeah, 100%, even like people that I know people that they walk in one day and they're not very happy, so we'll sit and then the next day they're at the life of the room again. Like we accept people for the natural emotions that humans can go through on a daily basis, and we're okay with that. And I think it's about just people knowing that there is a safe space to come to if you're feeling a bit rubbish. And there's places you can come to where you're not going to get judged. And, people say to me all the time, this is going to sound crazy. And I'm like, I bet you it doesn't. Like, I bet you I've heard a lot crazier. So there's nothing really crazy where we are. Like, we've all had weird dreams and we've all done different things and we've all seen things in the corner of our eye and we've all seen 11:11 all the time and this, that and the other. Like, there's nothing really crazy like you to underestimate. I
suppose that sort of all relates to what you're on about. Like you just mentioned there, like a weird dream or something. Yeah. Like, I suppose this is all around what you do. It's like, what does that mean?
I think the moral of what we do is we're genuinely just believers of everything happens for a reason. And
I'm a big believer in that.
Nothing happens really by accident. Everything is for a reason, and that's what we believe in. So we're only here to kind of go, well, why? And try and figure out, because mediums should be the first ones to debunk a situation. You know, if there's not a spirit there, I'm going to say there's not a spirit here. Like, we're the first ones to debunk. We should be the realest people on the planet, really. But we're here to find out why things happen, you know. We're very, more than spirituality, a big part of spirituality is philosophy, and we're massive on philosophy where we are. Like, even when mediums do services and stuff at spiritual churches and things, there's always a philosophy section, because we are essentially philosophists. That's what we are, and that's what we do.
So, you know, I've just got to mention again that so when people are walking past, as I have done so many times, and you look and you see this shop, you know, have a walk in and go through the second door as well, because there's so much, like you say, that's where you can have a coffee and people meet people. People have built friendships in your place.
Yeah.
It's really nice that it's, you know, you've got this place in the town that's for the community, and it's like, look, you don't have to come and buy a crystal if you don't want to.
No,
have a chat, have a coffee.
Exactly. We don't care if you never buy anything ever, as long as you feel like you can come in and you're safe. You know, we have people turn up for all sorts of reasons. We've got one lady, she won't mind me mentioning, she come in purely because of the iris flower, because it's her favourite flower, and obviously we're covered in irises, and that's why she come in, and now she comes nearly every week.
Yeah.
And now she's to the point where she's going to, we've given her a shelf in the back to put her wax melts and candles on, so she can sell them from us. So, you know, and that was purely because of what it looked like. So people come for all different reasons.
I noticed there was, you mentioned the iris flower there. So there's iris flowers on your sign, and iris flowers everywhere. So is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, so Iris is my nana. And she's like,
oh, that's your nana's name.
My nana's name, Iris. And she's like my favourite person on the whole planet. And I was like, how can I make this? Because at first the logo was different. It was like a moon and a sun. And I was like, actually, I want to make it a little bit more personal. And with my nana being my favourite person, Iris being my favourite flowers, I thought, let's go with the iris flowers.
Right, okay. So you've incorporated it into the business then, and Iris is always there, you know, in every room, I suppose.
My granddad, who's passed away, he's a massive part of our centre. Like, there's not a single student that's been through our centre that's not been taught by him in some sort of way. So I was like, with him being such a big part of it, I want to include my nana somehow because she's still alive. So we put the iris flower in, and now everything is irises.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Is that? Yeah.
And she's like a little mini celebrity.
Is she?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. Yeah. Why Gainsborough then? What brought you here?
The cellar. It was an accident. It was a complete accident. I actually was looking for a venue to do a charity event of an evening of mediumship. And then Andy got in touch with me and said, I've got this cellar. I don't know whether it's any use to you. And that was it. I was like...
One look at it.
I was like, this is it. This is what I need to do. And I was going to have it as just a room for me to do one-to-ones in. So, because at the time I was working as well as adults, I was working from home. And I didn't really like doing that because that's my space. So it was just going to be me doing one-to-ones in that cellar. And then I was like, do you know what? Let's make a whole centre out of it. And I did. And then we ended up moving upstairs, and then it's just gone absolutely crazy. Like, I can't believe how crazy it's gone.
Yeah. No, that's great. It's great to see sort of something growing, and obviously, you know, we're around your big 1 year milestone, which is brilliant. Brilliant for any business, to sort of achieve that stepping stone 100%. Of getting to a year and looking forward to what's going to come the next year. I'm sure you've faced your challenges in your first year and everything else, as everybody else. But to get to that point and then now to look forward to what's next. But what a big milestone for you then, a year in business. In Gainsborough town, eh?
I can't believe it. A whole year. Like, my life has changed so much in the past few years. Like, and now I never thought, if you'd have told me 2 years ago when I was living in Scunthorpe and I'd just had a stroke, you see, so I was out of work and this, that and the other. If you'd have told me in 2 years' time you're going to be living in Gainsborough with a spiritual centre, I would have probably laughed in your face.
Yeah, like, so you had a stroke?
Yeah, I've had several strokes. And I was at Scunthorpe Hospital. I was in for like a fortnight in the January 2024. And that was when I knew I had to start thinking about coming off the doors, because being stood outside at 4 o'clock in the morning is not ideal when you've had a stroke. So that was when I went to push my mediumship to be able to survive on one-to-ones. And then this happened. So here I am.
And the rest is history, and away we go. Yeah, well, it's brilliant to see sort of how you're growing and how you're establishing yourself in the town, and like you say, the amount of people now that's starting to come through the door that's just maybe got a question or that just wants a little nosy, and like me, I'm the one that's intrigued, but I've kept walking past. But I'm so glad I had the little tour, because it really shows, it opens your eyes.
It goes right back. And we have people, they'll come in once, we have people that come in every now and again, and we have people that come in nearly every day. And, we're okay with anyone that wants to come in. We're just passionate about what we do, really. And, we've all got thick skin, because you have to in this. I think it helps being a doorman.
Yeah, so definitely, yeah. I suppose it's one of them fields where you've got to have a thick skin, haven't you? Because not everyone gets it, and not everybody believes in it. But it's something that
But at the same time, I'm a big believer of I'm in my lane, and other people are in their lanes, and you don't need to comment on their lane, so. You don't need to comment on my lane. Just, if you want to come and join me on my lane for 5 minutes, you're welcome to. But if not, stay in your lane.
I agree with that. I always, my granddad, I always wear one of my granddad's ties. People that watch will know. But my granddad always used to say, if you've not got anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all.
That's it.
But it's great that you've been really well supported, and and it's great to have you in the town. And like I say, I was really delighted with my tour and see sort of what went on, and I sort of, you're drawn to some of the certain crystals and stuff like that. It's quite strange, Yeah,
it's mental.
One of the things that you said to me while I was in there was that you decided that when you opened, if you could just help one person, then it was worth it.
Yeah, so that was my goal, was one person. I said to my partner the day we opened, I said, if one person asks me a question today that they've been looking for someone to answer, it's done it, and it's helped one person, it's done its job. And after 40 minutes, it happened. And I said to my partner, I was like, it's done it already in 40 minutes.
40 minutes in. It's
done it. And like now I look back and I'm like, and I still say, as long as it's helped one person, then, I'm all right with that. It's worth it. It's done its job. So, and I think,
a really nice way of looking at it.
I hope it's done its job so far.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. Yeah, I'm sure it has. And it's nice for people that, that are looking for answers, and it's nice that people that are looking for friends, and it's nice that people that are just looking for something, that you're there, and you can be a part of their lives.
I can't believe, we've been in like 5 award finals so far, and this, that, and the other, and because people nominated us, so even something like that is unbelievable, because it means that somewhere you've done something.
You've touched people's lives, haven't you? And and I think they're probably doing that as a way back to as a way to pay back, really, and nominating you for these things, which is really nice. I seen when I came in, and you've got these certificates on the wall. And
because I think it's still a bit in shock, really, about how kind of successful it's been, and it's not there for success on a monumental part. It's there for success on a monumental part. It's there for success on a like helping people part. And I think, or I hope it does that. And, you know, I am a believer of, you know, it's got to be doing something. If people keep coming, something has got to be right with it. And, you know, and I am a big believer of everything. Like I say, everything happens for a reason. There's a reason I've ended up in Gainsborough. There's a reason why the centre's now in a shop and downstairs. And, you know, I stood there on a whim, and I'm usually a massive overthinker. And there was a reason why I stood there and said to Andy, like, yes, I'll take that shop on and make my overheads quite large, like just on a whim.
Yeah.
And, you know,
take these risks, don't we, you know, but also sometimes it just feels right. And if it feels right, you've just got to go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
We was in Blackpool a few weeks ago. It was absolutely freezing. I wouldn't recommend it if Jack was. And everything was shut. But Alfie absolutely loved it because we're down on the beach, on the seaside front. He's pedaling his bike and little Lottie were in a carry. And we had a great couple of days away. While we were there, I don't know why, but I just was like, right, and I went to go see one of the gypsy palm readers.
Oh, the palm readers.
And I walked in like the curtain, like the net curtains and all that, and I sort of went in and I sat down, and the first thing she said to me, she said, "It's great to see that your granddad's come with you." And I couldn't believe it. You know, it's like goosebumps and stuff like that. And I suppose you get that all the time. You'll see, you know, I felt that, you know, and I was like, that is unbelievable.
I suppose, you know, there is some fake cowboy mediums out there, same as there's cowboys in every trade that you get, you know, and it does put a dampener on the ones that are really passionate about it. And I always say to people, even when they deny things, I'm like, you can never lie to a medium, because we know, like, we literally know.
We know, yeah.
Like, my partner hates it, because I always know when there's something wrong before there's something wrong. And I'm like, I know you're not right. Just tell me.
I know
like,
this.
Yeah, I know it. I know it in my intuition. And I think every human being has intuition. Like, we all get gut feelings and things like that. You know, every human has intuition. So everyone has the ability to dive into that a little bit more and explore that a little bit more, so they can read energy a little bit better, and then you find that they will more likely end up where they're supposed to be in life, because they've gone with the energy. All humans are a magnetic field, and we pull towards certain ones and we push against certain of others. And I feel like if we all listen to our intuition just that little bit more, then we'd end up where we're supposed to be in life.
Yeah, it's a great way of looking at it, because you know, like somebody like me that's like I mentioned to you, I'm, you know, not 100% how things work and stuff like that, but you're like, no, it could be, you know, a gut feeling, you know, that it's all around us, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so in terms of mediumship, then again, somebody like me that's not sure, and you sort of think, oh, you know, a psychic and a medium, you know, what actually is mediumship? To you know, in layman's terms, to somebody like me, what is it?
So mediumship is connecting with the world of spirit. So people that have passed away, people that your ancestors or your loved ones or your spirit guides. That's mediumship. Whereas psychic work is more your divination and your energy kind of work. But they usually come together as a pair. So mediumship is, I suppose we're not here to prove anything, but we're big believers that you don't just die and that's it. Like, there is more out there than, you know, the only two things guaranteed in life is taxes and death. So, you know, we just believe that there's much more than that.
Yeah. Okay. And I know that you have like a lot of like guest mediums coming in, and you sort of, you know, and stuff like that. I've seen a few things when I were in the centre of sort of certain dates you've got booked in, and you like other mediums from other towns and stuff like that.
We love supporting other mediums. So our next one is the 22nd of March. And it's a lady called Alex Featherstone, who's absolutely brilliant. She's actually back by popular demand because she come last year.
She's been before,
and everyone loved her so much, so she's coming back. They're usually on a Sunday, our evenings of mediumship. We try to have one or two a month, but we have so much else going on. But yeah, so the next one's 22nd of March with Alex. She's absolutely lovely, amazing.
It's great to see that, like, mediums sticking together, people in the same trade, I suppose, sticking together. It's a bit like, me as a butcher or as a restaurateur, you want the butchers maybe against the supermarkets and all, what they're doing, but butchers should be sticking together.
Absolutely.
So, and it's great to see mediums doing the same,
Yeah, it's like I always say 2 heads are better than one.
Yeah, definitely.
And when you pull together as a group, you're a bit more unified. So you've got more people bringing things to the table that you can't bring to the table. And I think in order to understand each other better, we should look at other people's strengths. And, we have a tendency to be a bit stubborn as humans.
Yeah.
And a bit, we get a little bit on our eye or sometimes or subconsciously. But I think sometimes it's better to just take a step back and go, actually, I can benefit from this person.
Yeah. And people, obviously, we mentioned earlier on that there are skeptics out there. There's, people that don't quite believe or are quite sure, not necessarily don't believe. I'm one of them. I'm just,
Yeah.
And I went in there and, she said that about my grand, and it's one of them and, mentioned my granddad straight away. But like, what would you say to people that aren't quite sure, aren't quite sure about bobbing in or aren't quite sure about having a reading?
That are not sure.
Yeah, the people that I suppose that are a little bit sceptical or that, not sure what to expect.
Yeah, I suppose I'd probably say 2 things. One, like, when you're ready, you'll do it. If you're meant to do it, you'll do it when you're ready.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Because I suppose you do, don't you? It's like one of them things. You feel that you're sort of ready to, and I must have done that in, a while ago when I went in, and you just sort of feel like I need to bob in. Yeah.
And the second thing I'd probably say is, like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, if you've got nothing to lose, so. I like to try everything. I give everything a go. So, if you're really, really meant to do it and you're really, really meant to look into it, you will do it in whatever way.
Like you say, don't knock it till you've tried it, innit? I mean, I went, like I say, a few weeks ago, and they started saying, "Oh, I'm not sure what you do for a living, but I can see meat." And she was on about that. She says, I think you're going to go into doing a lot more dry cured bacons and stuff. That's honestly what she said. And literally the week before, and we've done this, we've invested in a dry curing bacon counter, because we always cure our own bacons, but we don't show the process in the butcher's shop. And it's something that we're wanting to go into. We're wanting to start to show people and teach people how to do it. People love the story of, of meat and everything else. They love to know what goes on. And it's great to hear all about what you do. And we'd literally just bought it the week before, this glass front fridge, so we can show the curing process of all the bacons and all this were mentioned. And it was just was goosebump stuff.
And I suppose all that lady's done really is confirm for you that you've made the right choice.
Yeah, totally,
which is what Spirit do. They're not gonna, they're not our controllers, not gonna boss us about, but if we're onto something, they'll confirm it's the right thing to do. And I feel like that's what that lady did for you.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. So you've had this vision, you've built, you've come from the cellar, and then the space came available upstairs, and you've had this vision, and you've moved forward, and you've built into this now. And like I say, you've got your teaching and your reading room, and then you've got your crystals and your earrings and all your bits and pieces that goes on. And what's your plans moving forward? Is it just continue doing what you're doing and continue helping, continuing to grow and bring people in and other mediums? And what's your plans for the near future then? We've
got lots of different stuff this year that we didn't do last year. We've got some psychic detective stuff going on and some different bits and bobs. So just keep doing what I'm doing, really, and I'll just let my intuition take me wherever I end up.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Yeah, and I know you sort of do. I know you do some live stuff as well in front of an audience, and I know you do some small stuff, one-on-one readings, and people do want to get in touch. Gainsborough Spiritual Centre. Then
we're on Facebook and website and that kind of thing. So
stuff.
yeah.
Well, I ask everybody that sits at this table. I ask everybody the same question, and it's if you could sit at this table with anybody, whether it's past or present or spirit or, as it's speaking in your language, who might that be?
Well, I've recently done my family tree, and it's been the most interesting thing I've ever done in my life. Right. So I'd probably pick a few of my ancestors from right up just to have a chat on what life was like for them compared to what it is now.
Yeah.
Because like I say, if anyone wants to do the family tree, I'd highly recommend it because it's very interesting.
Yeah, except when you said it then, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. So you've like sort of traced back sort of all ancestors and stuff like that.
Yeah, all my lines. So I know a lot now about my family and where I've come from and where they've come from. So I'd probably pick a few of them out and have a chat with them.
Have a Sunday dinner and a proper chat.
Chat and a cup of tea.
Yeah, we always say like good food is great for good conversation at the table, right?
That's it.
To be. Obviously, it helps me being a butcher, the nice Sunday dinner and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, great. Well, listen, it's been absolutely fantastic to talk to you, to hear your journey from dormant to medium and everything else in between, all the things that's going on at the centre. It's great to have you in town, and I look forward to watching your journey continue and see where things go.
Yeah, so, well, thank you so much for having us.
Come in, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to At the Table with Baz. If you enjoyed the episode, a like, share or review goes a long way, and I would be extremely grateful. You can stay connected with us on social media across all of your favourite platforms, and if you know someone with a story worth sharing, they can get in touch with me directly via the website atthetablewithbaz.co.uk. I'll see you next time.